Hi everyone, my name is Alex and I'm really excited to be chatting with you today. This is my first YouTube video ever. I'm pretty new to the journaling community, especially the physical journaling community, and I've been really enjoying people's videos on YouTube, going through their planners and their planner setups, and especially around this time of year with a lot of people showing their techo kaigis. It's been really exciting, and I really just wanted to kind of contribute myself and maybe inspire somebody to also get into analog journaling. So I'm going to be talking about what I've been experimenting with over the past 6 months since I got back into physical journaling. And I'm going to be starting off with my Passport Traveler's Notebook. So I bought this right before I went on a 2-week trip to Europe over the summer. So basically, I've been frustrated over the past little bit with digital planning. I'd been doing it for the previous 5 years using the Notion app. And I actually talked a little bit about this in a newsletter that I have about why I decided to stop using Notion for most of my day-to-day life planning kind of stuff. I'll have a link to my newsletter in the description if you want to read that previous issue. But you know, the basic overview is that Notion was really allowing me to overcomplicate my life. It's really limitless because it is digital planning, and that was actually not working for me because I was just able to make everything so complex for myself that it was overwhelming, and that wasn't working. So I wanted to really strip things back and simplify things. So I got this notebook right before my trip, and I went over to Yoseka in Brooklyn, New York, and I was really excited to pick this up. And when I originally got it, I picked up 2 inserts, a craft paper one and a grid one, and I'll show you those before I go into my current setup. So I'm just going to put this to the side for a second. This is what I've been using as my archiving system so far. So it's actually an index card box that I have dividers in it, and I use it just to separate them by year. So, you know, I've just started this year, so it's just 2024. But I've been finding this is really good. It fits the passport size notebooks. It fits an A6 notebook as well. And even I can kind of squeeze in these take a note notebooks, the record size, which is a bit smaller than a Hobonichi week size. So I've been really liking this as an archiving system. It's really simple, really affordable. So starting off with the first 2 notebooks that I had. So I picked up these 2. And I've labeled them. As you can see, I do this when I'm, done a notebook and I'm archiving it. But I started off with the craft paper notebook and the grid paper notebook. And the idea was I was going to use this one as like my daily log and my journal, and the other one would be more of an annual book. And that was inspired by Lindsay Scribbles, but it quickly turned into more of a commonplace style book. So I'm just going to take you quickly through both of them. So what I did with the craft paper book is I just started out by really just writing down what I was doing. So I started using this when I was on my trip, and it was really nice because even just reading back these little lines like go to the foam photography museum, that reminds me of going to that museum with my dad and my friend and all the beautiful art we saw. Going out dancing, getting a tattoo, and this is the sticker from the tattoo artist Cédric Desrodeaux, who I had been following on Instagram for a really long time, so I was really excited to get a tattoo from him. And it was really just nice to have it with me to tape in little bits of ephemera, so like this tip-in of this ticket from the Stedelijk Museum. That was really cool. And I went to a stationery store in Amsterdam called Misk. And so I got some stamps from there because they're like an official traveler's notebook shop. So that was really, really cool. And then also did some more long form journaling. I journaled a lot about journals, which was pretty meta. But it was just really nice to have this book. The craft paper was really nice to write on with a ballpoint pen. And because it's not white paper, I felt like it wasn't very intimidating to get started with. And I could deal with not having lines because I think I'm like pretty okay at writing in a straight line. So it was really, really cool to be using this. And then it was also really nice because it was blank for me to draw things out. So like I was designing a ring to commemorate my cats. And so I was able to like do little sketches, and I went on a trip later with my partner to the cottage and, you know, taking little drawings of things we saw and being able to give my partner the book as well and have them do drawings was really amazing. Then I switched to this horizontal layout. So I flipped the book and I would use this side for doing my to-do list, and then I would do more of like a morning, afternoon, evening kind of journal. And I really liked that for a little bit as well. I continued that. It was like really minimal setup, which was really nice. And then if I wanted to journal something longer, I could just flip the book back around, and you can see I started doing some commonplace kind of like annotation here where I would add in like, this is like journaling, or, you know, another journal entry, and everything is just kind of in this book. So I was really liking this. It's a really nice way to just document things, and I can look back on days and I can really get a sense of what I was doing. So I was really enjoying this kind of micro journaling to-do list kind of setup in this book. Here's the Yoseka stationery stamp that I got later after I went back to the store. So yeah, I was really enjoying that. I could do pen tests. I even had my friends show me their handwriting, which was really funny. We were like comparing our handwriting. So I really liked this book. And I, at the same time, had this book in here, which was, you know, more of a dedicated commonplace book. So I had an index at the front, as I told you, it didn't start out as a commonplace book. It actually started out as an annual book. So I had like all the monthly calendars, but I stopped using it pretty quickly. One of the things that I noticed is like I was getting a lot of inspiration from other people on how they use their notebooks. And that's great to get inspiration, but I found if things didn't come up more naturally as a need, then I wasn't going to use them. So like I had this housekeeping one that I got as inspiration from Lindsay Scribbles again, from her adulting log. But like, I don't like clean my baseboards, to be quite honest, that frequently enough for me to have like a housekeeping list that reminds me to do this. And because it was something that was coming up from other people's lives and not really my own life, it wasn't serving me. So it didn't end up getting used. I also, you know, talked about goals I wanted to do. Like I wanted to get to A1 in Dutch because I'm trying to learn Dutch. But yeah, I really didn't use these much after I set them up, even though setting them up was really, really fun. So I quickly shifted it to being a commonplace book. So I started using these washi tapes at the beginning of the month, using a different one for each month, to have just a visual indicator, a connection between my books about the time that things were written in. And yeah, I continued the commonplacing that I'd started in this book in here, again, mostly talking about journaling. So here's me kind of like sketching out some of the things I'm thinking about getting, or some of the things I've picked up for myself and what I could use them for. And then thinking about it, you know, here, like less structured things versus more structured things, and how everything fits together and all of that. And that was really interesting and exciting for me. And then, yeah, it just kept kind of going like that, as really a notebook for me to just write whatever I wanted, whatever I was thinking about inside of it. And that's how it ended, really, as just like a commonplace book with, you know, some weekly reviews. Like my brain dump list was in here from when it was an annual book, that kind of stuff. So those were the first two books that I used. Then the commonplacing continued. So these are the next two inserts that I put inside. I have a daily journal from September 23rd to October 31st, and then a commonplace book from September 9th to October 7th. So I was going through the books pretty quickly, as you can see. I was starting to fill them up probably every month to month and a half. And so this is more, again, of that commonplace book / daily log journal kind of style. So I started doing weekly layouts where I was tracking more like physical, health related things. So when I was eating and what I was eating to see if it had an impact on my mood and my energy, tracking different things that I did on different days that were health related with these stickers, like whether it was a good day or a bad day, and then also tracking any kind of like if I was feeling sick or if I did a workout or anything like that. And then more of these daily task lists with the morning, afternoon, and evening micro journaling on the side. And that's pretty much how this book continued the whole way through. I started doing weekly reflections in here too. So this is when it became a bit more, I would say like bullet journal style, where I was, adding in this structure of like a weekly log, and then I would have these weekly layouts again. Unfortunately, I actually got pretty sick of doing these weekly layouts pretty quickly, because I realized I'm pretty consistent with my eating schedule. And so a lot of the days was just the same thing. Like I would have a matcha latte around the same time. I would have a protein around the same time when I woke up. And so it wasn't really serving me in any way. And so as I started to get sick of this, I just realized this is kind of taking up unnecessary space. So I stopped doing it. One thing I want to highlight though, this was really cute. This is my October washi tape that I got to commemorate 2 of my cats that unfortunately passed away. And I really loved it. So I was just putting it there as well because it's such a beautiful one. This is a BGM washi tape that I picked up from Yoseka. And yeah, I had a black cat and a white cat. So when I saw this with the tulips as well, because I'm part Dutch, it was the perfect one for October. So I picked it up. So once I realized that wasn't really serving me, like I definitely kept going for a bit with the weekly reflections and the daily logs, but then I just completely fell off on filling these out, even though I'd pre-made them. And yeah, that book just kind of like ended as it ended. I had these sticky notes as I was just getting into like using these different planners to kind of remind me what I wanted to be filling out in each one. And also what I wanted to do for like the next week's prep. And I thought that was really useful, especially at the beginning. But yeah, I wasn't using the weekly logs. And so I just decided to stop this book. Now at the same time, I was using this commonplace style book. So I have that index again at the front. I was just using letters to indicate things versus any of the pretty colored dots that I was seeing online from like Megan Rhiannon's account. Just using the letters to keep things as simple and like easy as possible as I was just trying things out. So yeah, this was great. I really enjoy having a place to explore my ideas, and something that I'm carrying around with me all the time. And like, if I see a YouTube video that I think is really interesting or a quote, this is a quote from a YouTube video from Odysseus that was, "Knowledge isn't happy locked in a case." I thought that was a really great quote. So yeah, I was using this to kind of just jot down anything that I thought was interesting. Another quote from Maya Angelou: "You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have." And I really loved this for that. Ideas, quotes, project ideas, things I wanted to write out, that kind of stuff. So I'll just quickly flip through this, but that's how this commonplace book went. And I will say most of the things I was journaling about was my journaling system, which was really great because I really was embracing this moment of being fully experimental with everything and not getting attached to things unless they were really working for me. And that was really, really great. So yeah, that was how that went with these 2 books. And then this is when I finally did get some dot stickers, and I was trying to think about what I could use them for, and then some pen tests at the back. Now, the next thing that I did was I wanted to keep up that experimenting. So I actually got this. This is a Muji notebook instead of one of the official Travelers company ones. And I got this to use as an experiment for an annual book for Q4. So I did, again, the legend and an index, and then I did like a future log. So I was getting more into the traditional bullet journaling style with this. So I had future logs for the last quarter of 2024, Q1, Q2, and Q3 of 2025 and Q4 of 2025. And then I added in an index that correlated with the commonplace book that was also in my traveler's notebook at the time. That way I could see like what book something was in really easily and what page in that book, so I could go back and find it. But I wasn't really the best at filling out these indexes, I'm not gonna lie. I think that I'm not much of an indexer because I think that the way that I approach information is if it's immediately useful or useful in a short period of time, then I will use it, but I don't necessarily feel the need to go back and look at something even from like 2 months prior because it's I've probably already moved on from that thought or idea. So I don't think I'm going to be continuing with indexing as I go into 2025 because it just doesn't really help me that much. And if I want to reminisce and go through my books, then I'm actually just going to flip through them kind of without a purpose and enjoy just reading snippets of whatever catches my attention. So I used a lot of pages making this index that I didn't use. I also had a conversation with one of my planner pals and was inspired by their media tracker. So I tried doing a similar style one to them, like saying what I'm watching, what day I started it, what day I ended it. But this wasn't the best style for me of media tracking, and I'll show you what I'm doing for media tracking now that I'm enjoying a lot more, just because I don't really get a lot of information or like joy from seeing like, oh, I was reading the bullet journal method, started on October 23rd. That's not the most interesting information for me about the media that I'm enjoying. So I didn't keep up with this either. I filled out here my strengths from my Clifton strengths assessment that I did for work because I thought these were really interesting and it was something that, you know, I wanted to keep at hand. And I do think it's interesting to be able to just kind of like glance at these and remember, oh, these are the things I'm good at, especially if I'm feeling any kind of like imposter syndrome or anything like that. And then I was going to have a personal wins page. Didn't fill it out. And I was going to have a mental health toolkit, never filled it out. And I was going to, you know, keep filling out this annual book. And I was also working from the back. I had an ice box for like tasks that I just needed to get done, but they didn't have any specific date. And I honestly don't even remember what CRHF and CA means anymore because it just, I didn't use it. And then I had a backlog that was different than an icebox for some reason. This was very useful. I did enjoy writing out my tasks that I had to get done. So that was useful. And the idea was like, I'd fill them out from the back. And then when everything met in the middle of the book, then the book would be done. And I didn't 100% like that either because I would have to just keep remembering where things had been placed in the book and if they'd been placed in the front of the book or in the back of the book. And I realized I really just needed my books to be kind of as low of a mental lift as possible. So the last things I'll show you, these are the other bullet journal and commonplace books, the last two that I did before my current setup, which I'll go through with you. So this one was from November 1st to November 25th. And this commonplace book and bullet journal was from October 19th to November 30th, 2024. So again, I've got my key. I have my future log, which I did a bit differently. In this one, I drew out the small calendars and then I put everything here so everything for 1 quarter could fit on 1 page. Then I used this goal setup inspired by the Sterling Ink planners, you know, of breaking things down into like daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, but I did mine a bit different. I did the area of my life it corresponds to, the vision that I have for that area, why, and then if there's a specific project attached to it, which not everything has a project, and then monthly, weekly, daily, and then I planned on filling out like end of quarter win, kind of like the progress I made by the end of the quarter. I'm still playing around with how I organize these goals pages, but I do like this kind of 8-column standardized way of just getting an overview of everything that I'm, you know, thinking of focusing on. Then I did task lists for the entire month, which 2 pages in a passport size book I learned was not enough for a whole month's worth of, you know, all the little things that come up. This I really liked. This is a goal progress tracker that I made inspired by Lindsay Scribbles, and I also have my unplanned spending tracker at the bottom. This I really liked because I could just get a really quick sense of what I was working on, what I wasn't working on, or what wasn't doing. And I don't know, if I was feeling, like unmotivated, I could look at this and see that I had actually been making progress towards what I wanted to. So I had a bunch of different things here related to my goals, like reading fiction, writing fiction, journaling, special interests, time with friends, filling my Apple rings, different types of workouts, unplanned spending, if I went into the office, and professional development, if I did anything professional development related. And then at the bottom, I have my unplanned spending list of what I'd spent on. But again, this was not enough space for a whole month of purchases, because sometimes I'm making really small purchases a couple times a day. So, having one, two, three, four, five, having 24 lines, I make more than 24 unplanned purchases in a month, to be honest. So yeah. Something I did here that I really liked is in my daily logs, what I started doing was putting these little stickers. These, I believe, are Midori stickers that I picked up in Amsterdam at the stationery store Misk. And they're really cute. They're little birds, and I love birds, especially pigeons. So I used a pigeon for the first one. And it's just really nice because, especially since I was kind of just rolling through a page, doing multiple dailies on a page if I had space, it's a really easy way for me to see a new entry, a new day. And then I tried doing some content planning in my journal as well, but I quickly realized that content planning for like my newsletter or in YouTube or anything, it really changes around a lot over a period of time. And so actually planning it in a notebook doesn't work the best for me. I've moved that back into Notion. And I'm trying to really keep that minimal and streamlined. But if you're interested in seeing how I, plan content in Notion, let me know. I can do a little tour of that. This I really loved doing. So one of the things that I was really enjoying about getting back into analog journaling is that you can draw. That was one of the things I was also missing from Notion, is I couldn't like do little doodles or diagrams or illustrations or flow charts. And obviously with a pen and a paper, I could play around with that. So what I did is I did a doodle a day for the month of November. And it's so nice, even looking at this page now, it's only, it's December 7th. It's not that far from the end of November, but it's so nice to just remember all of the little things that I did with other people and by myself, and just to remember how lovely of a month that was and all those little things, because I think it's so easy to forget them. And I'm not someone who looks back at my camera roll super frequently. And we did some really exciting stuff in November. We did a road trip to the west side of the US and went to like the Grand Canyon and Death Valley and the Sequoia Forest. And that was just really amazing. I did a trip for work, and so I got to hang out with my coworkers, and that was really fun. And even little things like, I got sick, or we watched Harry Potter, or we watched the last Hobbit movie. That's just really nice to look back on. Here is my task list for November continued, because as I said, 2 pages wasn't enough. And I kept up with doing the kind of like weekly review pages. What I started doing also after reading the Bullet Journal Method book and doing some more research, I started doing like the weekly reflection and then the week ahead, and taking a look at what my plans were and what my workout plans were. And I found that to be really helpful as well. This was the sticker also from BGM that I got for November, and it's really beautiful. I love these blue flowers and this little like mystical looking character who lives in there like a fairy or something. I think it's really beautiful. So yeah, just more of the daily logs, and a chicken sticker here and a sparrow sticker there. Just really made me happy looking at them, and continuing to keep me motivated and coming back to my traveler's notebook. That was really special. I also tried doing some tracking in here. So tracking like my morning routine and evening routines and things like sleep and stuff like that. But I didn't find that super useful doing these parts. So it's really interesting. I think one of my favorite things about analog journaling is you get to look back at not just what you were doing in your life, but also, you know, what was important, or how your thinking about your systems actually changes because you have these physical reminders of it. This was like an unexpected thing that I didn't realize I was missing with using Notion for daily planning, but you don't get that with Notion. If you change your layout of something, or you change what data you're tracking, or what you're writing about something, you know that it's digital. So those iterations that you have, they don't get captured in the same way. Like, yeah, you could go through the change log on a page and see previous archived versions, but there's just something so beautiful about having these like tangible memories of how my brain actually works, and how I actually think about things. So I've been really, really enjoying that. I'll just do a quick flip through of the last commonplace that became an interesting experiment. This became me trying to merge a commonplace and a bullet journal. So it started out as just a commonplace with my legend here, and then pages. And I really liked how these stickers look. It's just a really nice visual indicator. One thing I will say about the stickers versus using letters like I had previously done in my commonplace book is I do end up having to go back and reference the legend or the key pretty much every time, because like my brain doesn't remember that green equals mental health. So that's kind of a bit of a frustration, versus if I see like an M, I know what that is for, or if I see a J, I know that's for a journal entry. So I'm still debating what I want to do, and one of the solutions might be to actually just also include an initial on these. Since they are washi tape, I should be able to write on them with my pen, so that could be something I play around with doing. But yeah, I'll just flip through this quickly. You know, again, doing a lot of talking still about kind of plans for my agendas, plans for my planners, how the whole system might work, all of that kind of stuff. You know, thinking about like how I kind of think about different stuff through flowcharts was really great, doing that in a planner. I then switched the ink in my pen to a gel ink, and that was really exciting. I like the higher contrast of it versus the ballpoint pen ink. So there's trade-offs, of course, because gel pen ink does take a bit longer to dry, so sometimes you get some smudging, but it's just really nice to have that high contrast look throughout the notebook. This is when I started thinking more about how to write better, how to tell better stories with my newsletter. So thinking about, you know, like a hook, and then the core content, and then like a CTA, and then a closing, and just collecting different tips and stuff like that. That's really interesting to look back on as well, and useful information for me. And then as I get further in, I actually kept doing a lot of like flowcharts and mind maps. This is one specifically for content creation, like thinking about why I want to do it, thinking about how I want to do it, and how it'll help me, you know, explore my interests and meet other people with the same interests. And that's just really exciting to get reminded about that. And then around here is when my other notebook, this one, ran out of pages. The Muji notebooks only have 48 pages versus the 64 pages in the Traveler's Notebook one. So I did finish this one up sooner. And so I started putting in my bullet journal daily logs into this. And it was interesting because you get these pages where there's like an idea, like something that's commonplace related, and then something that's a daily log, and the stickers serve to differentiate the two. So I thought that was really fun. And that's the end of that one. So that kind of combination of bullet journaling and commonplace book is what led to the experiment that I'm currently in right now. So I'll give you a quick tour of everything on my Traveler's Notebook and in my Traveler's Notebook now, like the current setup. So let me just close the archive box. Put that to the side. Okay, so this is my Traveler's Notebook. So I have the black cover. I picked this up from Yoseca Stationery in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. On the side here, I have the Baumkuchen brass charm, which is really lovely. It says Wabi Sabi, which I think is just a really nice thing to remind myself about. You know, things are beautiful because they're imperfect, and just to avoid kind of the perfectionistic tendencies that I tend to have. I have the red elastic that came with the notebook on here. And then I have the Kaweco AL Sport ballpoint pen, but I've replaced the ink with a Zebra gel ink in a 0.5 millimeter. And I just think it's really beautiful ink, and it's really nice just being able to replace the ink. And then I have the pen clip. And then in the actual notebook itself, on the side, I have a sticker pocket, and this is where I keep this straight edge that's also got some really cute little kind of stencils that I can use if I want to, and a little ruler in centimeters on the side. I mostly use it as a straight edge, and I just keep it there so I always know where it is. I have this really cute sticker from one of my coworkers that's a chicken, because I really love chickens as well as pigeons, so I really thought that was cute. And just for privacy reasons, I flipped this around, but this is a Polaroid of myself and my partner. And then this is going to be blurred out, obviously, but this is my phone number in case I lose this and somebody hopefully returns it to me, because I would really hate to lose this book. So I'll go through, oh, sorry, before I keep going. And then I also have this adhesive pen loop. I just got a pack of 12 of these from Amazon, and I really like them because I'd heard that the Traveler's Notebook ones can kind of get in the way because it's such a big brass clip with some kind of like height to it. So you have to sometimes take it off when you're writing in your book, and I really didn't want something that I'd have to take off and then I could potentially forget or lose it, or it falls off. So I just got this one, and it fits the Kaweco Sport very nice and snugly because it is an elastic band, and then the clip just gives me some extra security. So I feel really good with that, and I've got a whole box of them, which I'm going to be giving out to people. So in terms of inserts, I have the zipper pocket insert. In the back of the zipper pocket insert, I have a spare adhesive pen loop that I'm actually giving to one of my friends who just got into Traveler's Notebooks. I keep an extra gel pen ink in here as well. So there's the adhesive. So it's the Zebra JSB 0.5 black ink, gel ink rollerball refill. And these fit inside the Kaweco Sport, which is really great. So I keep that in there just in case I'm out and about. And my ink refill ends, I have a spare one, so I'm not without a pen. And then this is a tiny little A8, I believe, book from Moo. I just have a little doodle that I've done in here of an outfit that I wore one day that I thought was really cute. But what I'm going to be using this book for, this is inspired by What Up V. I'm going to be using this for writing down my thoughts and feelings. If there's anything that I find that I'm really ruminating on that I just can't get out of my head, that's what I'm going to put in here. And the reason for that is because, let me put everything back inside. As I was using this book as a combination bullet journal and commonplace book from the get, I realized pretty quickly that if I put something in here that is not pleasant, like if I'm working through something that's a bit more emotionally taxing or is upsetting in some way, it's not really nice to have that right next to my task list of, empty the dishwasher or return this to UPS or something like that. Because every time I have to look at my task list, I'm then reminded of the thing that I am upset about. So I got that idea from What Up V to use a separate book for that. And I really like this Moo book. I already had the 3-pack of them that I'd initially planned on using as a sketchbook, but I think it works really well since it's so small. I can just tuck it in this pocket as a little place for me to write out the things that are more worrying on my mind versus the things that I actually need to do in my day. So again, I set this up as a, combination bullet journal. So I have my life areas and my visions, and then just a very small graph of the goals for them. Since I started this in December, I didn't need a whole page. I use the Midori index clips to mark things off. This is in the silver color. And so this is marking off my future logs, which I just did Q4 and Q1 since I knew this book wouldn't last me very long, since again, it's another Muji one. It's only 48 pages. I've been keeping up with my doodle a day. This is my December washi tape. This is also from BGM. I really love their washi tapes. I love the subtle silver foiling that they do on them to highlight certain things. And I thought that this train with the doves was just really magical and calming and chill. And I think that goes with like the energy of December. So yeah, I've been drawing out what's been going on day by day. And then I've been keeping up with this habit tracker for my different, morning rituals and different tasks related to my day-to-day life, my health goals, and also working on my newsletter and this YouTube channel. I have an unplanned spending tracker here that just shows, what I've been spending money on so far this month. Then I have another one of the index clips, and I have a weekly task list on this side. I added another sticky note here because, again, one page wasn't enough for both all of my events and also tasks that come up. And underneath that is the weekly review from the week before. And then I go back into my day-to-day logs. So I'd finished the bird sticker sheet, one of the sheets, so I switched to a little forest animals one, so you'll see like rabbits or hedgehogs or bears or pigs. It's really cute as well. I think that's also Midori. So here's where I started to also put in the common placing. And when it's around things like my planner thoughts, it was totally fine because it's just interesting to see this on a day-to-day. And I would also like tip in another sheet if I wrote something on another page. And here's a cute little hedgehog. And that was all fine. But then I'm just going to cover this for privacy reasons. But then I got into like a green entry, which is one of those like journaling entries. And that's when I realized that this wasn't going to work, having my journal commonplace bullet journal all together. So that's when I realized I might need a change of how I log things. Here's some more planner system thoughts where I was thinking, okay, where do I kind of store different things for my different life areas, which I think of as creativity, wellness, which is physical and mental health, my career, my relationships, and my lifestyle, and like where I put different things. Lifestyle for me is like finances and my house, like my apartment and stuff like that. So I track all of that in Google Sheets mostly, because I just like being able to connect the information there with livestock market updates, to be quite honest with you. That's why I use it. So I have been going back to just doing daily logs in here. You can see all the way up to today. I'm filming my YouTube video right now. And one of the things that I like that I got as well for myself is I did get the 2025 Traveler's Notebook pencil board. And I was actually really impressed with the quality of this. I don't know if you can hear. I thought it was just going to be cardboard, so it's nice to see that it's actually like a plastic piece of TN passport sized, thing that I can use to just protect my pages a little bit and also use as a second straight edge if I need to. So that's that for this book so far. I'll be continuing to fill this out with just the daily logs and weekly logs and that kind of bullet journal style, hopefully till the end of December, until I move into my 2025 plans for the passport. I also have the craft folder in here, which unfortunately gets a bit dirty from the inside of the passport notebook the passport cover, if you don't have something in between it, like a zipper cover or something. So it is a bit dirty on the back, but things get dirty because we use them, and that's fine. It's very wabi-sabi. So I've accepted that, and I'm not going to throw it out and buy a new one just because it's dirty. Inside here, I keep a sheet of blotting paper that I've cut down because I'm using gel ink now, and sometimes it takes a bit to dry. It's nice to have that sheet of blotting paper so I can just throw it in there and close the book and not worry about smudging things too much. I have that sticker sheet that I'm currently working through. It's just so cute. Let me put it against something so you can see the stickers more easily. It is just so adorable. There's this little bear, this little pig lounging, the hedgehog dancing, the squirrel with a acorn. I just think that's so sweet, and it really fits with this kind of like fall winter time. I have my commonplace stickers. These are a washi roll that I got a 4-pack of from Amazon. And they're really nice. I chose these colors because I just found that it's quite easy to distinguish between them versus some of the other colors on the roll. And then on this side, I keep the stickers I use for my media journal, which I'll go through in a second. And then I also keep 2 spare sheets that I've cut out of an almost finished up craft paper book, the one I showed you. And these I keep because if I go to a store, a stationery store, and I want to stamp something, if I want to use it for memory keeping, I don't want to be cutting out a page from my bullet journal. So I decided to just keep some extra craft paper with me so that I can keep the stamping for that and then easily be able to put it into a memory keeping notebook without worrying about cutting out information from my bullet journal. And then after that, I have the Robiki notebooks. These are really beautiful. These are from Yamamoto Paper. You can buy these from Yoseka. You can also get them from Jet Pens. I actually picked these up when I was in San Francisco recently at a Japanese stationery store. The name is escaping me right now, but I got to see them in person, which is really lovely. They're this really nice wax paper, which the insert that it comes with tells you will age over time and actually patina. So I'm really excited to see that. It's just so nice having a notebook that's really thought of as something that's going to be a special keepsake like that. And I think this mountain range is really beautiful. It reminds me of driving through the Sequoia Forest and the Grand Canyon and all of that road trip that I took with my partner. So I really love that and having that. And what I've been using this for, I really should make a cover page for this, but what I've been using this for is for a kind of hobby journal or a media journal. So the different colored of green stickers are for different things. One's for what is like written. So if I'm reading a book or a comic, visual is like if I watched something that's film or TV or an anime, but also if I've like gone to an art gallery or something like that. And then listening is for music and podcasts. And then I have this light green for doing. So if I'm doing any of my hobbies, like learning Japanese or Dutch or sewing or doing leather work or learning to DJ or produce music or writing or editing videos or filming videos, that goes in that light green. And then the last one, this, I guess like pale turquoise, is if I'm playing something. So if I'm playing board games or video games, that's what I'll put. I've decorated it really minimally with these Suatelier stickers that are really cute, that are just very like cozy vibes. And I really like that because usually when I'm doing my hobbies, it's very cozy time for me. So I really love these stickers. And this is what it looks like in here. So what I do is I do a monthly spread. I use the washi tape for the month here just to keep everything cohesive between my books and to get to use the washi roll more. And then I put the different colored stickers on the different days when I do something. And I think it's just so cool, like this as a data visualization, it gives me really minimal information, but it's just so lovely to kind of have this one-page view of all of the time I've taken to do the things that I really enjoy. And a lot of my hobbies are solo hobbies, but quite a few of them are also with other people. So it's just so nice to know that I'm spending time with myself for myself, and I'm also spending time doing things I love with people that I enjoy spending time with. So I think this is just so beautiful. And then what I planned to do initially was to do a weekly spread and just list out and kind of correlate the stickers from the monthly spread to what I'd actually looked at. So like what I'd actually done. So this could have served as like an index. And then I'm like, oh, on the 18th, what did I, watch? I was watching Too Hot to Handle and Love is Blind. And I listened to a podcast about living the llama life with Marie Ng. And I worked on my newsletter. And it's cool because I could just flip back between the two and see the index. But something that I realized is this is cool to see everything that I did, but it wasn't necessarily the nicest way to like record what I was doing. So I changed that in the following spreads, and I'll go over that. One thing I did really like though is I used the last box because it's a 4x4 spread between 2 pages, or 8 total, but there's 4 on each page for each day of the week, For that extra spot, I wanted to use that for like a quote or just kind of the highlight of the week from everything that I'd either watched or done. So this is a quote from Gandalf from the first Hobbit movie, An Unexpected Journey, where he said, well, all good stories deserve embellishment. And I just thought that was a really nice reminder, especially as I'm working on storytelling and writing more, like creative writing, that embellishment is actually interesting. And I just really liked that quote from Gandalf. And these stickers are still from the Sous Atelier pack, and they're just so beautiful because they've got this kind of like watercolor illustrated aesthetic to them that I think is so nice and calming and goes with the washi dot stickers really well. So what I did the next week that changed things up is I instead just focused on highlighting the main thing that I did that day that was either a hobby that I was engaging with that's more like on the consumption side, like reading something or watching something, or if it was something I was working on, one of my hobbies, like learning something or working on my newsletter or something like that. And I really enjoy this a lot more because then when I look back on the previous week, I can see more detail. Like I started reading, Mistborn, and I'm really enjoying the magic system, and I love a heist plot. And that's just more of a memory to look back on versus just me saying I watched Too Hot to Handle and Love is Blind. So I really am enjoying this. I'm still using the stickers from that same pack to decorate it, and I'm continuing with this. And then I'm keeping up with the monthly spread because this, where I do put multiple stickers on a day, is still just a really beautiful data visualization, in my opinion, of what I did that month. So I'm keeping up with this, and then I'm continuing to just do the kind of highlight of what I did hobby-wise that day over here. And so it's really nice. And I fill this out the day after usually. So like last night we started watching the final Batman Returns movie, and I'm really enjoying it. We've been watching a lot of dramatic movies, so I noticed that, and that's really cool. And so that's how this book is going to continue. The other spreads that I'm planning on doing in this book are like when I finish a book or a movie or maybe a project I'm working on, like if I finish a sewing project, for example, I'd really love to make kind of a full page entry about it, reflect on that process of either reading something or working on something, maybe put a photo of the book cover or the sewing project or whatever it might be, and really just get to have this as a beautiful keepsake of all the hobbies that I enjoy doing. And the Robiki notebook is just so beautiful. It's a cream paper and it's got these really small dot grid in green on this one. And I just think it's so beautiful. It's really, really lovely, and it goes with the washi stickers. So that's what I'll be continuing in this notebook. And that's it for that traveler's notebook. Oops. So just to wrap things up about the traveler's notebook system, if you're like interested in trying it out, what I really like about it is this passport size is just so easy to carry around. I'm someone who uses pretty small purses. Like my average purse size is probably like that big. And so this, no issues fitting in there, even with my wallet and, whatever bits and bobs I carry. So I'm really able to carry it around every day. I can pull it out when I'm on the subway and I can jot down something quickly. If I hear someone say something interesting, I can write it down right away. It's just really nice to always have it with me. So it's definitely an everyday carry. I really like the flexibility of it because it uses strings. I have changed this around so many times, as you've seen from the experiments, and I have been able to play around with one notebook, two notebooks, three notebooks, different types of notebooks. And I like that flexibility because it follows my needs as opposed to being one book that I have to force myself to use continuously. And especially for just getting back into physical journaling after 5 years of doing digital journaling, I really like the paper size of it as well. Because it's so small, it's not intimidating. Because the books are only 64 pages, it's really fun to get to experience that dopamine of finishing a notebook and getting to archive it quickly, as opposed to if I was using a full year journal, just right off the bat, getting back into journaling. Then I have to wait a whole year to have that feeling. So this smaller notebook system really helped me with feeling comfortable getting back into it. And then again, like I said, because it's a page versus a digital system, I really just get to like doodle and diagram things out and draw whatever I want to and turn things around and flip things upside down and write in the margins. And it's just really fun to have that ability to do that with this. So if you've ever like considered trying the Traveler's Notebook system, then I definitely recommend, if you're just like looking to get started, just get yourself one of the notebooks to start with. And if you want to get the Traveler's Notebook ones, those are $5 a piece. So it's pretty inexpensive if you're just, getting one. If you want to get a Muji one, which is the same size, those are less than $2. I think they're $1.80 at the Muji store. So it's a really cheap way to try it. And you could even just, if you want to try multiple books without buying a cover, you could just buy 2 books and put an elastic band between them and carry them like that, or maybe clip them together on the back covers or something. And then you can try out a multi-book Traveler's Notebook system without having to commit to buying the cover, because even though the covers are gorgeous and the leather patinas so beautifully as you get to use it, if you're not sure if it's going to work for you, a $55 cover is a pretty pricey investment. So if you're looking to try it out, just get the notebooks and see if you even like writing in something that's that size, or if you want something bigger or something thicker. It's much easier to just make a small investment of like $2 to $5 to start off with versus going all in on the system right away. So that's it. I've been chatting for almost an hour now about just my Traveler's Notebook alone. I'm going to do a part 2 of this techo kaigi, just to split things up a little bit, where I'm going to take you through the other notebooks and journals and planners that I experimented with in the past 6 months. So look forward to getting to chat with you then. I hope you enjoyed this first video, and I would love to hear what your first planner or journal that you started with, what was it? What was it about it that also got you really excited about planning and journaling? So feel free to leave a comment down below. Let me know, what was the journal or planner that made journaling or planning stick for you. And I'll see you next time.